All right, Mr. Examiner, Mrs. Examiner, I'm going to begin my pre-trip by starting off with my clearance lights here at the top. They are clean, not cracked or broken. They're the proper color amber, and they have 2 screws securing them to the vehicle, and they're just clearance lights only. They come on, stay on, they do nothing else. Coming down to my windshield, clean, clear, not cracked or broken, and they have no obstructions blocking the view of the driver like stickers. I'm going to come down to my headlights right here on both sides, and also my turn signals. They are clean and clear, not cracked or broken. Turn signals are the proper color amber, clean, not cracked or broken, properly secured to the vehicle with hardware. In behind here, we can't see it, but we know it's there. And these turn signals, or these signals, have 3 purposes: running light, turn signal, and emergency lights. Looking beneath, I want to make sure we have no puddles, no leaks of any kind. I'm going to come over here to this side of the vehicle, make sure it's not leaning, indicating a flat tire or bad suspension. No obvious damage to the truck or trailer. And also over here on this side, it's not leaning. Again, indicating flat tire, bad suspension, and no obvious damage to the truck or the trailer. And now we'll go to our engine. All right, starting over here. I'm going to start off with my alternator. It isn't cracked, bent, or broken. It is properly secured to the vehicle with these 4 bolts here. None of my hardware is missing. It is belt driven, so my belt right here, when I push or pull on it, 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch of push or pull. The belt itself is not damaged in any ways, such as being cut or cracked or broken. My 2 electrical wires right here, no exposed copper, no electrical tape, and the proper hardware is present, securing it to my alternator. It's not missing. Coming down to my water pump, it isn't cracked, bent, or broken, and also not leaking. I see no puddles to indicate anything leaking. It is properly secured to the vehicle with hardware we cannot see, but yet we know it's there, or else it'd be leaking all over the place. It is gear driven, and all of the hoses connected to it. We have hoses here, we have hoses down here, we have the hoses on the top, and we have all of these hoses. Together, all of my hoses over here, no abrasions, no bubbles, no cuts, no dry rot, and not leaking. And they are secured with the proper clamps here, here, and we have a couple of them right here as well. My exhaust clamp is present, not missing, cracked, bent, or broken. My exhaust pipe, not cracked, bent, or broken, and not leaking. There's no signs of soot to indicate as such. And I'm going to follow it all the way back underneath. Guys, watch out for that anthill right there. All right, so, and them things will tear you up. Now remember, on the day cabs, the exhaust may come out down here, okay? But right here, again, my exhaust pipe, as it comes out, is not cracked, bent, or broken. It's not leaking. There's no soot. We have the proper clamps here and here, securing it all together. And also at the top up here, this bracket securing the exhaust to the back of the cab. It is present, not missing. But on the day cabs, your clamps and stuff will be down here, all right? So just keep that in mind. Come on around. I want to start off first with my coolant reservoir. Number 1, we have the proper fluid level between minimum and maximum. We can see here we have the proper fluid level. My caps are on tight, not leaking. The reservoir itself, not cracked, bent, or broken, or leaking. There's no wet stuff underneath here. It is secured to the vehicle with 1, 2, 3, 4 nuts and bolts. None of my hardware is missing. All of the hoses associated with my reservoir here on the top, no abrasions, no bubbles, no cuts or dry rot, and not leaking. Properly clamped here and up here, and there's some clamps right here as well, coming down and over. My air compressor is not cracked, bent, or broken, not leaking any air. It is secured with hardware with bolts back here, and also on this little clamp right here, or bracket I meant. It is gear driven, and the hoses connected to it right here. The hoses, no abrasions, no bubbles, no cuts or dry rot, and not leaking, and they are secured properly to the air compressor here, right here, and here. We have our dipstick, and we have our filler tube. I would simply pull it out, wipe it off, put it back in, pull it out, make sure it's in between full and add. And if I need to add any, I add 1 gallon at a time right here. Now remember, on other engines, it could be on the top, it could be right here, so you gotta just look for it, okay? Coming straight across, power steering pump. Not cracked, bent, or broken, not leaking any power steering fluid. There's no puddles underneath it. Properly secured with hardware here and over on the other side. We can't see it, but we know it's there. It is gear driven. The 3 hoses right here for the pump. No abrasions, bubbles, cuts, dry rot, not leaking any power steering fluid. Proper clamps on each end of the hoses, such as here and over here. Power steering reservoir, just like the cooler. We have proper fluid level. Caps are on tight. There's no leaks beneath our caps. Reservoir itself, not cracked, bent, or broken, not leaking, no puddles underneath. And it is secured to the vehicle by 1, 2, 3 nuts and bolts. All my hardware is present, not missing. Power steering gearbox, not cracked, bent, or broken, and not leaking, because we still got fluid coming in right here. Secured properly to the vehicle with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 nuts and bolts. None of our hardware is missing. Pitman arm, drag link, upper steering arm, tie rod. None of them are cracked, bent, or broken. And they are properly secured to each other by this method right here, what we call a ball socket. The bushing here in the middle is present, not missing. All of my castle nuts are tight, not loose. And all of my cotter pins are present, not missing. And the pitman arm is connected with just a nut and bolt right here. My suspension, leaf spring mount here in the front. We have another one back there in the rear. Neither one are cracked, bent, or broken. They are properly secured to our vehicle with hardware, nuts and bolts here, and also back here. In the middle, we have a bushing that is present, not missing. Leaf springs, not cracked, bent, or broken, not shifted, and none are missing. Properly secured to our leaf springs with a nut and a bolt right here. Our hardware is present, not missing. Holding it all together in the middle are these 2 U-bolts. Both of my U-bolts are not cracked, bent, or broken, and on each side of my U-bolt, it is secured by 1 nut on each side. Our hardware is present, not missing. Shock absorber, number 1, not leaking. Other than that, not cracked, bent, or broken. Secured at the bottom and at the top here with a nut and bolt. All of our hardware is present. Starting now with our brake system, we have the air hose for the brake chamber. Just like any other hose, no abrasions, bubbles, cuts, dry rot, not leaking. It is secured to the frame, and it is secured to this right here called the brake chamber. The brake chamber is not cracked, bent, or broken, and not leaking any air. It is secured in the middle with this ring that is present, not missing. Here, that looks like a tuning fork. That's what we call a push rod. It is connected to this slack adjuster. They are connected by a pin and a cotter pin. None of them are cracked, bent, or broken. My pin and cotter pin are not missing. And with the brakes off, no more than 1 inch of pull. On the inside, all right, this is a cover, but I'll show y'all again on the trailer brakes. We have our brake shoes, and on the outside, brake drum. Together, not cracked, bent, broken, no illegal welds, no oil, no grease, no discoloration due to heat damage, no loose or missing hardware. They are both secured to the vehicle. And on the brake shoes, no less than a 1/4 inch of material. My rim, inside and outside, neither side, cracked, bent, broken, no illegal welds. On my tire, outside wall, inside wall, across the top, AB CDL, no abrasions, no bubbles, no cuts, no dry rot, and not leaking any air. Also across the top, even tread wear. Minimum tread depth of 4/32 of an inch. Tire pressure is factory recommendation, checked with an air gauge right here at the valve stem. My valve stem is properly capped. The stem itself is not cracked, bent, or broken, or leaking any air. And further on the inside, it is secured to that rim. Holding it all together onto the vehicle right here are my lug nuts. None of them are missing. There's no shiny threads, no streaks coming out from underneath, and no distortions around the base like cracks or breaks in the hole right here. And then finally, I actually forgot this morning, just realized it. Hub seal. All right, my hub seal, starting from the inside, working my way out. All the hardware is present, not missing. The hub itself, not cracked, bent, or broken, and it's not leaking any fluid. And on the inside, we have proper fluid level. All right, we're done with the engine. Coming on out here to the cab. First of all, I'm going to talk about my door hinge right here. So I'm going to go ahead and open this up. All right, my door hinge is not cracked, bent, or broken. And we can also look on the inside here to double check that hinge right here on the inside. All right, and it works properly. My door is moving nice and easy. My mirrors are clean, not cracked or broken. Properly secured to the bracket, which is secured to the vehicle by 1, 2, 3, 4 bolts. Our hardware is present, not missing. My glass right here and here, clean and clear, not cracked or broken. No obstructions blocking the view of the driver. Coming down to my door handle or door latch, same thing. Number one, it opens the door and it also keeps it closed. On the inside of my door, we have our door. Some people call these gaskets, so you can call it door gaskets or door seals, same thing. But we want to make sure they're not cracked or broken or dry rotted, and none of them are missing. Coming down to my tank, my fuel cap. Number one, not leaking at the bottom of the cap. When I push it in and when I open it, rubber seal is present, safety chain isn't missing. Fuel tank itself, not cracked, bent, or broken, not leaking any diesel. I don't see no diesel on the ground. It is secured to the vehicle by 1, 2, 3 straps. The straps are not cracked, bent, or broken, and they have the proper hardware up on the frame, securing it to the vehicle. My steps here, not cracked, bent, or broken, clean and clear, free of any debris such as oil and grease, and they're secured to the vehicle with the proper hardware here and also down here. Coming on back to the back of this light first. Now be mindful, on a lot of those day cabs, it has a light right up here on top of the fender. So, because it'll be open, it'll be above your head, and you're going to go right by it. So just be mindful of that. But this light right here, clean, not cracked or broken. It is the proper color amber, secured by these 2 screws, and it has 3 purposes. It's a running light, a turn signal, and an emergency light. Coming back here, starting with my hoses, just like my rubber or any other, no abrasions, bubbles, cuts, dry rot, not leaking, not dragging on the catwalk here. It is properly secured to the tractor right here by being threaded or screwed in. Properly secured to the trailer with the glad hands. The glad hands, both of them, are not cracked, bent, or broken, not leaking any air right here in the center. My electric line, no exposed wires, no electrical tape. It is not dragging on the catwalk. It is secured to the tractor and the trailer with this spring-loaded cap right here, holding it in place. My catwalk, and sometimes there might be a step right here, so you include that step. Oh, I'm sorry, you include that step walk with your catwalk. All right. So my catwalk, it is. Where did that strap come from? That's not free of debris. I don't know where that came from, man. We'll deal with that when we're done. All right. My catwalk is not cracked, bent, or broken. It is clean and clear, free of any debris, oil, grease, sticks, whatever. It is secured to the frame by these handles, but on other trucks, be looking for hardware instead of handles, all right? My frame over here, plus you got your frame over here, and my cross member. Neither one are cracked, bent, or broken. There's no illegal welds, and there's no illegally drilled holes. My cross member holds the two frames together with hardware here, 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 and over here. All of my hardware is present, not missing. Coming down straight in the middle is my drive shaft. Like any other piece of metal. You're fine. It's not cracked, bent, or broken. There's no debris wrapped around it, and it is not twisted. The drive shaft is held on by the U-joints right here. My U-joints are not cracked, bent, or broken, and there's no debris up inside my U-joints. Now, starting at the top of the trailer, just like at the top of the truck, clearance lights. They're clean, not cracked or broken, proper color amber, secured by 2 screws, and all they are is clearance lights. They come on, they stay on, they do nothing else. Coming down here, the front of my trailer, this is called my header board, and this is called my sidewall. I'm going to group them together. Together, neither one, no holes, no dents, no cuts or bulges, no missing rivets on either side. My DOT tape is present, not missing, and it runs the full length of the trailer. And over here on my header board at the bottom, we have the front of the apron, and then we have the rest of the apron. Together, my apron, the front, and the rest of it is not cracked, bent, or broken, and no illegal welds. All right, now I'm going to show you guys how to properly shortcut stuff. First, name the parts. And it don't matter which system you start with, does not matter. But I like to work inside, coming out. I'm going to start with my brake system. First of all, down here, it's a little hard to see, but you can see them over there too. We have our brake chamber air hoses. We have our brake chamber. On the back side here, push rod, slack adjuster, pin and cotter pin. And on the inside, brake shoes, brake drums. And I would inspect them the same way I did on my steer tires. On my suspension, first of all, right here, right there, this big chunk here, that is my leaf spring mount. Then we have leaf springs, U-bolts, and shock absorber. And I would inspect them the same way I did on my steer tires. But we have one piece we need to inspect that isn't up front, right here. Airbag, right there. That's part of our suspension. My airbag, treated just like a tire. The only difference, no tread, okay? So, no abrasions, no bubbles, no cuts, no dry rot, not leaking any air. And you can see it is secured to the vehicle with these 3 nuts and bolts here. All of our hardware is present, not missing. That takes care of our suspension. We've done the brakes. Coming on out. My rims. Now, on a day cab, you're only going to have 2 rims over here. All right, so you would just say, on my 2 rims, I would inspect them the same as my rim up front. But in the middle here, you got to give that its own inspection. So here in the middle, between the tires, the rim touching the rim, no gap between the rim, proper space between the rubber, and no debris in the middle. So that takes care of your rims. My tires, you're going to have 2 tires on your inspection. So both of my tires back here, I'm going to inspect the same as my steer tire, but the only difference is my tread is 2/32 of an inch. All right. My lug nuts are just the same as my lug nuts on my steer tires, same inspection. My valve stems, both of them, I would inspect like I did on my steer tires. Now this is different. This is called an axle, so it gets its own inspection, but it's treated just like any other piece of metal. It actually gets the same inspection as the hub. It's not cracked, bent, or broken. It's not leaking. There's no puddles down here to indicate as such. And all of my hardware here in the front is present, not missing. And on the inside, it has the proper fluid level. So that takes care of that. So we've done our rims, we've done our tires, we've done our lug nuts, we've done our axle. Now we go on to our coupling. All right. So down here, we have what we call the fifth wheel, or some other people call it a skid plate. Either one's fine, it doesn't matter. My fifth wheel is not cracked, bent, or broken. It is properly lubricated. That is on the test. Got to make sure you got the proper grease. And between the apron and the fifth wheel, no gap. We don't want to see no daylight right here. This handle, it's called a lock and release handle because it does both purposes. It is in the locked position because we have a trailer. Got to make sure you tell them that. And other than that, it's not cracked, bent, or broken. This is the platform right here that it all sits on top of. It is also not cracked, bent, or broken. And all of my hardware, all of my nuts and bolts are present, not missing. And we're not worried about those because it's not on your test. All right, coming back here, mud flap. Number one, it's present, not missing, not dragging on the ground, not cracked, bent, or broken. Properly secured with nuts and bolts right here. All my hardware is present, not missing. DOT tape is present, not missing. And we also have proper clearance between the back of the tractor and the landing gear of the trailer. Now I'm going to try to fit under here without farting, so you might want to stand back because I've been holding one in for a long time. All right, because on the day of your test, you got to get under here. All right, so y'all come under if you want so you can see what I'm looking at. You come back here, that's fine.
My phone crashed.
All right, first of all, up here inside the fifth wheel, that thing coming straight down, that's our kingpin. Treat it like any other piece of metal. It's not cracked, bent, or broken. And this thing going side to side in front of it is the locking jaw. And the fact that we can see it means it's in the locked position. It needs to be because you got a trailer. So it is in the locked position, and the locking jaw itself is not cracked, bent, or broken. Coming back here, we have another cross member and frames, and I would inspect it like I did the cross member and frame in the middle. Now, in this particular truck, we happen to have two reflectors. Now, if the truck you're on doesn't have any reflectors, good for you, don't worry about it. But this one does, so the reflectors are clean, not cracked or broken. They're the proper color red, and they are secured properly to this cross member. This light, not on the test, so don't worry about it. However, these two are. First of all, let's describe the lens. It is clean, it is not cracked or broken. It is the proper color red, secured to the vehicle by these three rivets right here. And these are four purpose lights. Like any other light on the vehicle: running light, brake light, turn signal, and an emergency light. All right, that's it for the tractor. We want to go up to the trailer now. We have above our head here, and it runs the full length of the trailer, cross members. That's part of the frame of the trailer. Our cross members are not cracked, bent, or broken, and they're secured with hardware coming down from the floor. None of our hardware is missing. All right, now coming behind us here, we have our landing gear. We have the cross members of the landing gear are not cracked, bent, or broken. They're secured to the vehicle with all the proper hardware that's present, not missing. We have full clearance between the pads and the ground. And where's our handle at? Okay, it must be on the outside.
Right here.
All right, so let's go on to the outside. Headaches. Yeah.
Oh my God, my knees.
Stretch your legs, please, dry. Huh? You get your legs stretched, please,
All right.
dry.
The cross members here, and our legs, none of them are cracked, bent, or broken. And like I said, proper clearance to the ground. The handle, not cracked, bent, or broken, and it is in a secured position. Coming on down. This light here, like most other lights, the lens, clean, not cracked or broken, proper color amber, secured to the vehicle with the hardware, and its three purposes: running light, turn signal, and emergency light. Now this time I'm going to try not to stab myself again. That thing hurt. All right. Whew. Starting with the airlines right here beside me. Like any other airline, no abrasions, no bubbles, no cuts or dry rot, not leaking any air, and also not dragging on the ground. I'm going to start with my brake system, brake shoes, brake drum, brake air hoses, brake chamber, push rod, slack adjuster, pin and cotter pin. I would inspect them the same way I did on my drive and steer tires. Suspension, leaf spring mount, leaf springs, U-bolts, and I would also inspect them the same way I did on my drive and my steer tires. All right, coming up to here, this handle is another lock and release handle. It is in the locked position. It is not cracked, bent, or broken, and it controls these pins right here. The pins are in the locked position, and they're also not cracked, bent, or broken. And this morning I forgot something right here. Torsion bar. All right, this torsion bar is not cracked, bent, or broken. It is properly secured to the vehicle with nuts and bolts up here, and also another nut and bolt back by this axle over here. All right, and now we can come out of here. So we can go to our rims and tires.
A little more, a little more, a little more. All right.
All right, I'm gonna start with my rims. Now back here, you're gonna have 4 rims no matter what, because it's the trailer. So I'm gonna check all 4 of these rims the same way I did on my drive and steer tires. The inspection in between the tires, the same as I did on my drive tires. Lug nuts here and here, same as my drive and steer tires, or yeah, drive and steers. Valve stems, all 4 of them, again, the same as on my drive and steer tires. My tires, make sure you say drive tires only, because remember the tread depth. So I'm going to check my tires, all 4 of them, the same as I did on my drive tires. But this here is what we call a hub, and we got a hub on the steer tire, and I would inspect this hub and that hub the same way I did on my steer tire up front. And that's it. That's how you cover it. That's how you shortcut things. Name the parts and then say you would do it like you did up there.
All right.
Now, on other trailers, because this is a roll-up, you're going to have a door hook right here. So don't forget that. So you examine the door hook. You know, it's present, not missing, not cracked, bent, or broken. It's usually secured by 2 screws, and it just holds our doors open when we're backing up to a dock. Mud flap, I would check it just like I did the mud flap behind my drive tires. And this light here, clean, not cracked or broken, secured with 2 screws, proper color red. It's a running light only, and at nighttime it lets us know where the end of our trailer is. All right, we want to treat this like they're swing doors, okay? We have our door seals that run across the bottom, across the top, down the middle, and down the sides. Made out of rubber, so my seals are not cracked. Well, no abrasions. I wouldn't worry about bubbles, but you can say no abrasions, not cracked, not dry rotted, and they're present, not missing. My door hinges on both sides, all right, made out of metal, so they're not cracked, bent, or broken. And each hinge has 3 nuts and bolts securing it to the trailer all the way up. Here in the middle, I'm going to have my door handles. My door handles are not cracked, bent, or broken. They're in the secured position, and they're properly secured or latched here, and the same way at the top. My DOT tape, it runs the full width of the trailer. It is present, not missing. My tag light right here has a clear lens and a clear bulb. It is clean and clear, not cracked or broken, secured by these 2 screws, and it's just a tag light, nothing else. I'm also going to pretend that those 3 lights are there are down here, okay? Because on most of the trailers are going to be down here. So, starting off with my lights, all of them are red in color. All of them are secured to the vehicle with these rubber seals. Now, sometimes these in the middle may be secured by screws, so just look out for that. And all of them, when I turn on my lights, are all running lights. But beyond that, the 3 lights here in the middle, 1, 2, 3, those are what we call identification lights. They want one purpose only. Running lights, that's it. They come on, they stay on, they do nothing else. But when we go out to the sides, here and here, running light, brake light. All the way out to the edge. Running light, turn signal, emergency lights. So one purpose, running light. 2 purpose, running light, brake light. 3 purpose, running light, turn signal, 4-way emergency lights. Any questions? All right. No, we got to do the in-cab.
Okay.
Not on the test.
Oh, it's not. Okay, I thought it
Used to
was.
be when I took my test, it was.
Okay.
But y'all all jump in on that side. I'll get in on the driver's side and I'll do